Hey team, it's Ekant here from EkantTakePhotos.com, and part 3 of my Auckland trip. We are here taking some seascapes at the beautiful Muriwai beach. I'm lucky enough to be here with Earl Cook, who's famous for taking these amazing seascapes in this area. You really should check him out and check his work out. We've been walking around here for maybe about half an hour or so. We're still another hour away from the sun setting, and we're trying to find a good spot to get those sort of beautiful trailing shots coming off the rocks and things like that. Not really working with this tide out so far, but we think we found a spot here where we might be able to get a bit of a leading edge on the rocks, get some nice colors coming off the water, and maybe try and get that sort of trailing effect from the sea hitting these rocks. When it comes to taking seascapes, again, safety is very important. Don't get yourself stuck. I'm monitoring the tide. It is starting to come in around me, but not to the extent I think that I'm going to get stuck here. But as soon as it does start getting a bit too rough, I'm going to head out. I'm going to try and escape. But I'm going to set up here to start with, maybe try and use these rocks on the right here in front of me as a leading edge and see how that will work for a shot. All right, talk to you in a second. Say hi, Earl. Yeah, that tide's really coming in around us. I think it might be a good idea, as cool as this area is, to get out before it's not going to work here. All right, let's see if we can find another shot. As much as the location might be great, I don't think it's going to be a safe one. So trying a few different shots and really not happy with any of the sort of layout at the moment. Most of the issue is coming down to how overexposed the horizon is, how underexposed the foreground is. That's the nature of what happens when the sun is so high in the sky. Gonna try and have to think about how we can maybe make use of the foreground a little bit. I've just gone and scared off a few people who are killing a few starfish. There's no need for that. I'm not one of these big fans of using starfish just because you want to kill something. And also I want them in my shot, damn it. But I'm not going to go and move them around. These guys are just as much right, if not more right, to be here than any of us. So let's see what we can do to utilize this as a foreground. We've got the sun still just peeking up there, but keeping an eye on that tide as it comes in and out pretty quickly. It was just up to my ankles a second ago. So these west coast beaches of New Zealand have a lot of this black sand, which is full of iron deposits. And that makes for great reflections when the water is streaming off it. Let's see if we can do this place justice. So when we arrived, the tide was right out and a lot of these rocks were well away from the water's edge, but now the water is coming in closer and closer, and you can see that the rocks are starting to get a little wet, and as the water pulls away, it's pulling back a little bit of the sand as it goes out, and that's giving us a little bit more color, a little bit more shape that we might want to be able to use in the shots. So this sort of composition here with Gannett Rock over to the side here, the sun setting in the middle, some of these smaller rocks in front of me, hopefully getting a little wet and dragging a little bit of the sea spray out with us, might be the shot that we go with. So I think I'll go and use this spot over here. We've got the water coming in, we've got this colors looking good. I'm going to give it a second for that water to come in a little bit further, move away, and then take that half a second exposure. There we go. Now we're going to try that one again. We've got to wait for the water to come in. We've got to give it a couple of seconds for it just to recede a little bit and grab that exposure. Alright, so I think that's us done for the night. It turned out alright in the end, and we got a few shots, so let's hope they work out. We're going to have to get back into the studio and see how they look and process them, and it's usually the case that we look at them and go, that was useless, that was crap. And look, the water's still coming. Alright, things to remember when you're doing seascapes, always know where the sea is. it's always good practice to try and keep the lens cap on as much as possible, because the sea spray is going to get in the way. You know, be safe, make good choices. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time. If you've got any questions, ask them and I'll try and answer them as best I can. All right, thanks, and thank you to Earl.
And turn your camera on.
And turn your camera on. That's always a good one. All right, best to turn the camera on. Have a good one. Okay, so I said we were going to pack up and leave, but one more shot. Just trying to expose and exploit that glassy black sand effect and try and take one more shot. So I want the water to come right up to my ankles here, and as it speeds away, capture that wet sand and that spray. Let's see how we go. And here we go. This one looks good. Get a little closer. As it moves away, turn the timer on. Click. Yeah. All right, now we're done. Now we're done. Definitely done. So I'm here trying to clean off my little gorilla pod here, and I was trying to find out why the sand won't come off. Then I remembered that all the iron in the sand is stuck to the magnetized ends. Look at that. Well, live and learn. Next time, don't use a magnetized tripod on iron or sand.